Okay, it's 1:02. I apologize for the delay. I will now call this meeting to order. We have an agenda in front of us. Do we have any additions to this agenda? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion, please, to accept the agenda as presented. Councillor all in favor of that motion? Carried. So we will go right to number 3.1. We have a public hearing for Bylaw 2020/20 Municipal Development Plan. And it's with O2 Planning and Design, and they are also live streaming with us right now. I hereby declare the public hearing for Municipal Development Plan Bylaw 2020/20, a bylaw to guide future growth and development in the town of Rocky Mountain House over the next 20 years, open. This public hearing, held via electronic communications, is being convened pursuant to the Municipal Government Act in order to consider the proposed Municipal Development Plan Bylaw 2020/20. The hearing is being live streamed to the Town of Rocky Mountain House YouTube channel. For those wishing to present at this public hearing, information has been advertised pursuant to Section 606 of the Municipal Government Act. And the public has been notified to submit comments in writing, that public participation is by remote meeting or electronic teleconference only. And to access the meeting via Zoom remote meeting, www.zoom.us, telephone 1-587-328-1099. The meeting ID number is 820-4701-1603. And the passcode is 094987. Persons wishing to speak for or against the proposed bylaw have been encouraged to register in advance by contacting Dean Schwader, Director of Planning and Community Development, at 403-847-5260, or by email at dschweder@rockymtnhouse.com. Comments and contents of all emails or letters received become part of the public record. As well, this public hearing, which is being live streamed. Our communications coordinator, Ms. Button, will direct the order of those wishing to speak first for those who have registered, and then those others who wish to speak. Our communications coordinator will prompt you to speak and address council when it is your turn. Any persons who are present in the Zoom meeting waiting room who believe that their interest in a property is affected by the proposed bylaw shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard respecting matters contained in the proposed bylaw. Those who present may address council by clearly stating your name and address. Then you may give us the benefit of your views concerning the proposed bylaw. Should council require clarification on any issue raised by the public, council will call on the staff to further clarify the matter. The staff's comments will be limited to technical matters and should not be construed as support for or in opposition to the development. The main function of council members today is to listen to the views of the public. It is not the function of council at this public hearing to debate the merits of the proposed bylaw with individual citizens. Everyone shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making his or her views heard. I will now ask administration to please introduce the bylaw.
The purpose of the Municipal Development Plan Bylaw 2020/20 is to guide future growth and development in the town of Rocky Mountain House over the next 20 years. To do this, the MDP provides policies to direct future land uses, infrastructure, and the physical development of the community. The intent of this MDP is to support well-managed and sustainable growth, the development that will ensure a high quality of life for the citizens of Rocky Mountain House now and in the future. The MDP has been created to describe the town of Rocky Mountain House's preferred direction with respect to land use, infrastructure, investment, provisions of services, and future development patterns. Guide policy creation and planning tools regarding land use, transportation, and infrastructure investment decisions. Provide an overarching document to assist in the coordination of municipal bylaws, policies, programs, and investments.
Okay. Has any correspondence or written submissions have any correspondence or written submissions been received?
There has been 2.
Okay.
And they're in the package. Would you like me to read them, Your Worship, or?
No, actually, sorry. I'm gonna open those up. So everybody's had the opportunity to read these submissions. Okay. And has anybody submitted a request to speak or participate in the public hearing?
None, Your Honor. Worship.
So seeing nobody in the waiting room to present, I will go, ask communications coordinator, is anybody else present in the Zoom meeting waiting room waiting to speak on the bylaw?
There is nobody in the waiting room, Your Worship.
Okay. So council, do you have any technical questions for admin regarding this bylaw? No? Okay. So then I will just now ask for a motion to close this public hearing. Councillor Narang, all in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Thank you. So we'll go on to 3.2. Public hearing, we'll move on to 3.2, which is the public hearing for bylaw 2020/19, the land use bylaw, LUB, also with O2 planning and design on our website or viewing. I hereby declare the public hearing for land use bylaw 2020/19, a bylaw to regulate the use and development of land and buildings in the town of Rocky Mountain House open. This public hearing is a remote public hearing being convened pursuant to the Municipal Government Act in order to consider the proposed land use bylaw 2020/19. The hearing is being live streamed to the town of Rocky Mountain House's YouTube channel. For those wishing to present at this public hearing, information has been advertised pursuant to Section 606 of the Municipal Government Act, and the public has been notified to submit comments in writing, that public participation is by remote meeting or electronic teleconference only, and to access the meeting via Zoom remote meeting, www.zoom.us. The telephone number is 1-587-328-1099. The meeting ID is 820-401-1603. The passcode is 094987. Persons wishing to speak for or against the proposed bylaw have been encouraged to register in advance by contacting Dean Schwader, Director of Planning and Community Development, at 403-847-5260, or by email at dschweder@rockymtnhouse.com. Comments and contents of all the emails or letters received become part of the public record, as well as this public hearing, which is being live streamed. Our communications coordinator, Ms. Button, will direct the order of those wishing to speak, first for those who have registered, and then those others who wish to speak. Our communications coordinator will prompt you to speak and address council when it is your turn. Any persons who believe that their interest in a property is affected by the proposed bylaw shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard respecting matters contained in the proposed bylaw. Those who present may address council by clearly stating your name and address. Then you may give us the benefit of your views concerning the proposed bylaw. Should council require clarification on any issue raised by the public, council will call on the staff to further clarify the matter. The staff's comments will be limited to technical matters and should not be construed as support for or in opposition to the development. The main function of council members today is to listen to the views of the public. It is not the function of council at this public hearing to debate the merits of the proposed bylaw with individual citizens. Everyone shall be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard at this meeting. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making his or her views heard. So I'll turn it back over to Mr. Schrader to introduce the bylaw.
Thank you, Your Worship. The purpose of this land use bylaw 2020/19, entitled the Town of Rocky Mountain House bylaw, land use bylaw, is to regulate the use and development of land and buildings in the Town of Rocky Mountain House pursuant to Part 17 of the Act. This bylaw strives to enable sustainable development based on the principles of the Town of Rocky and provide an overarching document to assist in the coordination of municipal bylaws, policies, programs, and investments.
Okay, can you please just clarify if I see no written correspondence?
That is correct, Your Worship.
Okay. And has anybody submitted a request to speak or participate in the public hearing?
They have not, Your Worship.
Okay. Okay, so no speakers there. So I'll ask communications coordinator, Ms. Button, is there anybody present in the Zoom waiting room?
There is not, Your Worship.
There is nobody waiting in the Zoom waiting room?
No.
Okay. So I'll ask council now, do you have any technical questions for admin? No. So seeing none, I will ask then for a motion, please, to close this public hearing. Councillor Fraser, all in favor? And that's carried. So we'll move on to number 4. We do not have any delegations. Number 5.1, adoption of previous minutes. So we have meeting minutes from January the 12th. Anybody who's had a chance to review them? What would you like? Councillor Fraser, thank you.
I will move that we accept the draft meetings from January 12th as presented.
Okay, all in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Okay, number 6. Delegation business. So we'll move on to number 7.1, old business. So the RFD for the bylaw 2020/20 for the municipal development plan, and we have O2 planning. Are they going to be joining in?
I do believe they will still be on the line.
Okay. So I'll turn this back over to you, Mr. Schrader.
Sure. So today we're going to hopefully do a second and third reading for bylaw 2020/20 municipal development plan. In regards to the written inquiry regarding second story, whether we want to discuss that or I know we discussed that in the previous meeting. It's been inserted into the MDP. Whether there's further discussion on that.
Councillor Alt?
The only thing that said in there was it had either a second story or a facade.
Correct.
Second story. So it's not making somebody do that. It might appear to be a second story, but yeah, right.
Correct. Yeah, you have the option.
Yeah, to clarify, we are having, would have to put up a facade,
Yeah.
if not a second story.
And that's addressed in the LUB for the downtown core.
And that's for new builds, sorry.
Yeah, that was,
For new builds though?
yeah, new builds only.
Yeah, new development.
Yeah, ones, they wouldn't have to go back and do that now.
That's correct. That's right. Any other questions on that? No? Okay. Does anybody, do you have anything else to add? No? Does O2 have anything they want to add? Okay, so what are council's wishes then? Councilor Phillips?
If there's no further discussion we have, I would make a motion to council the second reading of bylaw 2020/20 municipal development plan.
Okay, all in favor of that motion? Okay, and that's carried. So we'll move on to 7 point. Oh, sorry, Councillor Fraser.
That was second reading, right? All right, I will move for unanimous consent to the third and final reading, or we don't need to do that because we're not doing all three.
It's in
Okay, I will move that we do third reading of bylaw 2020/20 municipal development plan.
all in favor of that motion? Okay, and that's carried. So that is now finished. So we'll move on to 7.2. Bylaw 2020/19, the land use bylaw. I'll turn that back over to Mr.
So
Schrader.
administration is requesting a council's consideration for second and third reading for bylaw 2020/19 land use bylaw. Just a couple of comments. When we're reviewing it since our first reading on December 15th, we did notice some missing for some of the districts. So we added manufactured home to the medium density residential district. It's allowed in all the other districts as a discretionary use, as well as adding public utility to the future development district and environmental open space district as a discretionary use as well. So that's been added to the land use bylaw since our first reading of December 15th. So as a second reading, I have that amendment in the second reading.
Anybody have any questions on that? Councilor Lorraine?
Was that just like basically like a typo oversight type of thing? Or there's
Yeah,
no
it was
material?
missed on our part in
Okay.
regards to manufactured home and public utility. We added after we did the eco center, kind of rates. Think about future uses.
Perfect.
Any other comments or questions? All?
No other discussion. I'd make the motion that council give second reading of the bylaw 2020/19 land use bylaw with the amendments of adding manufactured homes to the medium density residential district as a discretionary use, as well as adding public utility, the future development district and environmental open space district as discretionary use. Could use comment.
Oh, I have some-
Dr. Oxford Thomas.
Okay. Any other comments or questions on that? All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. Councilor Lorraine?
I'll make the last motion. Be it resolved that council give third reading to bylaw 2020/19 land use bylaw.
All in favor of that motion? Carried. Thanks to everybody in planning and to O2 for all of your work on this as well.
A big sigh of relief.
Yeah, this is great.
A lot of work.
Mm.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
So we can now move on to 8.1. RFP review of planning policies.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay.
Yes, following the work on the now new land use bylaw and municipal development plan, a review was completed of the policies relating to municipal planning to determine which policies are obsolete, which have been updated or replaced by another policy or bylaw, or those that are in need of revision. So a review was done on these policies with the Director of Planning and Community Development, along with the Senior Development Officer and myself. We went through the policies related to municipal planning and came up with this table that kind of highlights the review. Would you, Your Worship, would you like me to go through the various policies that are in the table?
Does anybody have any questions? I've gone through them all in the package. I'm assuming everybody else has.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions on that?
Yeah, so Your Worship, basically the table outlines, which policies need to be rescinded, which ones have been reviewed and are up to date, and which ones will be coming back to council because there is a need for them to be updated. So I've made some recommendations in terms of the alternative resolution following this review.
There's to note there's quite a few.
Yes, there are quite a few.
Outdated
So
ones.
it's- Yes.
1993 to 1996 onward to 2015. So I know this is a lot of work there. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Your Worship and Council, just so you're aware as well, we are going through the whole policy folder. So we'll be working with other departments and updating all of the policies. Once those have been addressed, then we'll be looking at the bylaws as
Awesome. Thank you very
well.
much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Any questions? Councilor Haslund, please. Okay, Councilor Brown.
Would make the motion that council rescind the following policies. 004/1993, procedure for application within the JGMP. 005/1993, non-resident business license. 001/1994, floor area ratio relaxation policy. 003/1995, yard relaxation policy. 008/1996, procedure for landscaping requirements. 011/1996, parking cash in lieu. 001/1997, procedures for development permits and advertising. 008/1999, procedure for exemption of building permits. 005/2004, off-site levy policy. 001/2010, policy for CCANs. 001/2012, building permit fees policy, and 002/2015, development permit fees policy.
Can you repeat that?
Thanks. Councilor Brown. Any other comments or questions? Okay. All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Thanks, everybody. Thanks again.
Thank you, Your Worship.
So we'll move on to 9.1. Correspondence for action. The Alberta Community Partnership ACP grant with the town of Drayton Valley. I'll turn that over to Mr. Kraus.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. So this is being initiated by the town of Drayton Valley.
And over the past year, the CAOs and staff from Drayton Valley, Hinton, Edson, Whitecourt was involved also, just to discuss our municipal departments and challenges that we face. And the idea came up of maybe exploring, is there chances to reinforce each other or even provide some shared services in the future? So Drayton Valley is applying for an Alberta Community Partnership Grant to explore that and work with municipalities to see if they can be identified. So part of that grant application is they would need resolutions from municipal councils that are supporting the program are going to be involved in it, but Drayton Valley would be the lead on this project.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Lorraine?
Like what kind of shared services would that be? Like,
Part of the study is to explore that,
Mhm.
to see, we can identify. I mean, you might just end up with being mutual aid for water treatment plants, for
Right.
example. But we all use services like assessment services that we outsource, and perhaps all, a few municipalities can get together and actually just have one assessor among us all, where it's more of an in-house service than it would be like the contracted services. Or when we would go to tender for assessment services, maybe we do it jointly and get better pricing for the 3 or 4 municipalities.
that would be good for like consistency too, as far as comparing communities' assessments. If we had the same person or the same assessor doing it
Yeah.
all too, yeah. Yeah, that's great.
I see no harm in doing this.
No,
So I think right now with looking at finding savings and, I think looking at partnering with other municipalities is key to finding better savings for a lot of other services.
Super innovative. I like it.
Councillor Alderson?
Just out of curiosity, is this type of thing undertaken by the people that are actually doing an amalgamation study as well to find cost savings? Because I mean, it makes sense to do, Drayton Valley's asking, but we also have neighbors like right next door. I'm just curious, is that the type of thing that they would be looking into, these type of things?
I'm not quite clear. on
Sure,
your
well,
question.
just like, we're talking about cost savings and shared services. It's just, possible doing that with our actual next door neighbors as well. So I was just curious if that's something that the people that undertake the amalgamation study would be looking into, but maybe you don't know the answer to that. I was just curious.
Like as
Yeah.
part of the study?
Yeah, absolutely. It's part of the
Yeah,
study.
Your worship, actually, Councilor Olson, that is part of the study, is to review the services of all 3 municipalities, Caroline, Clearwater, and the town. And one of the option is to explore, maybe not amalgamation, but maybe more enhanced or shared services.
Absolutely. Perfect. Yeah, more options the better.
And I think this just makes sense along that same line
Yeah.
of shared regional services, local regional. Why not reach out and expand those boundaries whenever we can to save dollars? Councillor Lorraine?
Would this also sort of complements that economic development partnership that we've been working towards? Like this would be a direct.
Yeah. So, your worship, actually, that is ongoing right now. I mean, that's already established, and I think that it's, to Mr. Schwader, but I think it's more on the electrical vehicle project or charging stations and other avenues that are exploring.
It all just kind of works together.
Yeah, I think it's a great step forward.
As you comment, we are doing a tourism collaboration with these communities as well.
Perfect.
So
Perfect. The more partnerships, the better. Yeah. So we would just need a motion then to support Drayton Valley in their
So-
letter to.
Right.
Councillor Alderson?
I would like to make that motion that we send a letter of support for Drayton Valley to undertake.
For the AC. Okay, for the AC.
For the ACP grant, correct. Yeah.
You have that, Renee?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay, everybody understands that motion. All in favor? Carried. Now we'll move on to 9.2. Reopening rural Alberta petition request. Okay,
So, your worship, the town received this email with a request that the town, at least lobby the provincial government for opening and lifting restrictions to allow basically personal services and so forth, restaurants to open up. The town has already taken the action on this and it has sent a letter to Premier Kenny. I realize it's in the correspondence for action, but it's because council's never had the opportunity to really discuss it yet openly in public, because we took a quick action on the email, and subsequently restrictions were lifted yesterday or on some portions of it, but the letter still to the Premier still emphasizes restaurants also. So.
Yes. I think it just needs to be clear too that as a municipal government, we can't petition the provincial government. But certainly asking for more clarification, I believe our letter was fairly clear that we're not saying that there is not a health crisis. We understand that there absolutely is, but we just want more clarification for our business owners. And so I think the letter was very well done. So thanks to everybody that helped on that. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to comment on the letter or the other email?
Yeah, I see there's a response back from the government already. So they received that. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Anytime we can go to bat for our businesses and residents, then we have to take that opportunity. So I guess just a motion to accept that as information. Councilor Phillips.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. All in favor of that motion? Carried. So we'll move on to number 3, request for a virtual meeting for Wild Rose School Division. Sorry, where is that? We're looking at March 30th. This is so far away, but I guess, does the date work with everybody? And we'll go ahead and plan that. They suggested the times of 4 or 7. Does anybody have a preference?
I prefer 4. I would too.
Yeah.
And it's a Tuesday, so that'll be right after council.
That's 30th.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would prefer 4 as well.
I agree. Your worship, just on that, if I could get your feedback as to, I provided the council resolution from February 2020, just with regards to some of the items that council wanted to discuss, and I just wanted to, when I get back to Wild Rose School Division, identify if there's any further items that council would like to discuss at that meeting.
I'm just gonna pull it up.
Yeah,
So the
the
topics are the joint use agreement with the Wild Rose School Division and the co-op field school resource officer, update on the modernization of local schools, and for administration to request that WRSD reschedule the date. I guess that's gone. Do we have anything else we would like to discuss on there that's come forward now? Councilor Fraser.
It'll depend on how things move forward, but I know that some cities are looking at space that's not being used municipally in facilities like community centers and meeting rooms to help spread out some of the high school students' classes to keep the class sizes smaller. I'm not sure whether we're going to be at that point, but it might be something to look at, just to give them some options to keep schools open. If they need more space, we've got space that's not being used.
Yeah, I think that's always an option, and that would be covered under our joint use agreement, right? So it's a pretty fluid situation. Just kind of
Absolutely, just, yeah,
go with it.
just that it was that maybe they hadn't considered it, just to let them know that that's an option.
So, okay, so we can, I guess, a motion to, the school division that the 30th of March at 4 o'clock works best for us, and we will follow up on these agenda items.
Your worship, would you like me to read the resolution?
Sure.
Okay. Be it resolved that council accept Wildrose School Division's invitation to meet on March 30th at 4 p.m. to discuss Wildrose School Division's capital plan, joint use agreement / Curtis and Co-op Fields, school resource officer update on the modernization of local schools, and options for unused facility space to assist with COVID-19 spacing.
Anybody for Councilor Phillips? Okay, thank you. All in favor of that motion? Carried. Thanks. So I just looking for motion. We're moving on to 10. Need a motion to accept 10.1 to 10.5 as correspondence for information. Councilor Auld. All in favor of that motion? Carried. We'll move on to administrative reports. We have CEO report is 11.1. I'll turn that over to Mr. Kraus, or would you like to highlight any of those?
Your worship, unless council has any questions.
I guess I just have a question about the open house for the airport terminal. Where would we be at on that?
Your worship, the report is drafted. That's been sent to council for review and comment. Once council is comfortable with that report, we will schedule it, but we'll do a virtual open house where people can provide comments and input to council. And then we would address the issue after that.
Okay.
So mid-February would probably be an approximate time.
Mid-February? Okay. Any other questions on CEO report? Okay, just a motion to accept. Councilor Brown. Accept CAO report as written or as presented. All in favor of that motion? And that's carried. And we've all seen the director's reports and being as directors, we have limited capacity in here. Just need a motion to accept. Does anybody have any questions, I guess, of the director's reports? So just a motion, please, to accept all the director's reports as written. Councilor Alderson. All in favor of that motion? Carried. Moving on to number 12, 12.1, the action list. Everybody's had a chance to read the action list. Any questions on that? Motion to accept the action list as presented. Councilor Brown, all in favor of that motion? Great. Okay, do we have any administrative inquiries?
Today.
Okay. Moving on to number 14, do we have any notices of motion?
We do.
Councilor Fraser.
So I was thinking about the food trucks and a lot of the smaller businesses that aren't in an actual building, but that operate out of a kiosk. And I know last summer was tough with all of the festivals being canceled, but they still have a business to run. I was wondering if it would make sense to look at a pilot project maybe this summer where some of those businesses could rent a space in town to operate. And I was thinking that Centennial Park, some of the spaces in Centennial Park might be a good spot because it's central, it's close to the fields, it would service the people who are camping in there. But I guess the reason it's a notice of motion would mainly be to ask our planning department if they were able to reach out to see if that would even be something they'd be interested in. It's basically just providing them an alternative space to operate out of because they don't fit a lot of places otherwise with regulations.
We do have the temporary use that people can, sign up for it and go through the process where any town-owned land, they can set up. So if you want to keep it as a group and a central, I guess it is the, people sending a inquiry out to whether people would be interested in doing it in a central location, or like I said, everyone can do their own thing as well. Like if someone wants to set up a museum parking lot, they can do that. If they want to set up on Main Street and make 2 stalls, they can do that as well. So it's just a matter of if you're thinking about, putting them all together. Yeah, there would be a little bit of work on that on our end, but whether we just send out a feeler, I guess, what kind of interest it would be, I guess that's a possibility.
Councillor Lorraine?
I'm wondering then maybe if it wouldn't be prudent just to advertise that, like be really, really pumping that up. Maybe they're not aware. Maybe not everybody's aware that that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking even now, like the water treatment plant, that area
Sure.
too would be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Giving some suggestions as to where,
And that we're,
About the water spray.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Maybe just sort of highlighting good spots where they could promote their.
Ideally, with our program, we do need liability insurance from businesses that are going to be on town land operating. That's the only kind of stipulation that we require. And also traffic flow and that, whether it impedes or hinders flow of traffic. But we usually work with the kiosk or the individuals that want to set up to make it work. So.
yeah, I think it's worth advertising and promoting for sure.
Just a new way to look at things for a summer that we don't really know what it's gonna look like. So give people some options.
Yeah.
All right.
So just for clarification, Your Worship, so the council's fine with administration just advertising what's available now for that?
Yep.
So then we really don't have a notice of motion on the table, right?
Okay.
Unless you want us to investigate a pilot project, which would be a notice of motion we'd bring back to council at the next meeting for council to debate.
I guess the question, if there was a huge outcry saying, yeah, we want a central location, then I guess we could have that discussion then. Right?
Yeah, won't we just advertise and see what kind of response we get?
Yeah. And
then from there, maybe we develop a game plan if they all want to work together on a, whether it's a daily basis or a certain day of the week or
rotates,
whatever. I think let's just reach out and see what kind of interest there is. And then from there, if there's a project that we need to develop, then we'll maybe look at it from there.
I guess I'm kind of sensing that we want to promote some of the areas that would work well.
Yeah, like make it exciting.
Yeah, so promote everything. Okay.
just promote everything.
Yeah, simple.
Promote the available space.
Promote everything all the time.
So is that Councillor Fraser?
Yes, that's absolutely, that works for me.
Okay,
So,
good, thank you. So we are at number 15. It is 1:45. I will call a 5-minute break, and when we come back, we will be going into closed session. Thank you.